morning. My name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the energy with today's Monday's Musings on the 22nd of January. So that kind of makes sense. I've been really feeling into the energy today and I've been undecided between the deck that I'm going to use. I can really sense a feminine energy. So the 22 now actually makes sense, but it doesn't quite feel right. Something feels a little bit off. There feels like there needs to be a need for discernment, a chance to pause, to figure out what it is we're trying to say, to figure out the communication that's occurring within us and around us, where we are creating from. As we watch old patterns play out with this, recognizing that watching the old narratives play out is still part of the creative experience. So often I feel where the energy is going now it's all kind of slotting into place. So okay, let's go back to the very beginning. This morning the energy felt like I wanted to connect to the feminine. I was really tempted to use the goddess cards, but they didn't feel quite right. Instead, I'm going to use the legacy of the divine tarot, because what found paramount is one thing to know about the energy of creativity. What legacy are we going to leave behind as a result? And that really has an emphasis for the whole of this year. Now, don't panic. That feels quite mammoth, doesn't it? Oh my God. I thought I just wanted such and such and I'm doing all this work, and now it's about the legacy that I leave behind as well. When we believe that we're on our own with these things, they can feel quite daunting, but really feeling into the beauty and the support and the guidance that is there from the feminine, whether that is your creative expression, whether that is your emotions, whether that is your connection to the earth, or the intuitive actions that you take often without knowing. Really sensing into that this week is going to be key. So when I do that, showing up, this morning the guidance was show up, press record, and what you need will come to you. It's all part of this process of trust. There feels like an underlying current of trust here, an opportunity to pause and be discerning, but to use trust as our discernment. Does something feel as if you can believe in it? If not, then for whatever reason, yes, perhaps there's work there to be done. Perhaps our vibration needs to change in regards to what we believe we can create. But ultimately, if the trust isn't there, it isn't there. If the trust isn't there, it doesn't feel safe. If it doesn't feel safe, then the birthing environment, the environment within which we are creating, healing, shifting, moving, whatever that may be, isn't supportive for us to really let go and step into that river of consciousness, that feminine that wants to come through. So really paramount this week that trust is seen for I see a torchbearer, I see the hermit, I see the following year, actually the energy coming in from the following year. So trust in whatever we are creating now will make itself manifest throughout this year, in particular into the next year. And there can be quite a bit of frustration with that, right? But recognizing that every step on the process is part of the process. So back to the original emphasis at the beginning of this video, which again feels key. There's an awful lot of backwards forwards this week, but again, that is part of the process. You know, it's not, sometimes by looking back to where we have come from, we really truly see how far we have come. And that gives us the strength, the wisdom, the love, the gentility, the compassion to keep moving forward. So this week, yes, we may see what we perceive as old narratives coming out to be played, but recognizing that they are part of it all. The moment we can see that. So an example, I'm going to look at a flat today that we may be moving to, and it's far from ideal. And there's part of me that wishes I could just raise my vibration enough, step into my self-worth enough to manifest the house of my dreams that I'm trying to find. But I also recognize that this is part of that process, that this next step is part of that necessary creative process. So this week, if something feels a bit too far away, okay, bring it back to the now. What do you need to do in this present moment? It's one thing to see the grander picture, the bigger design, the legacy, if you will, that we're leaving behind, but that can be be quite daunting, particularly if we stay just in that energy. So this year we are in the strength card energy, but we're also in the star card energy. And the star is a beautiful, coming through very quickly when you show up, the star is a beautiful vision that we carry. It's a beautiful insight to where we could go and where we come from and what potentially we are made of. We are made of the stars, yeah, we're made of the carbon and all the atoms that have come from the sky above us. But when we come back to the now, the reality, the present moment, it can feel so far away. We can get a little bit fed up, apathetic, lost. Again, this is all part of the process. This is all part of transition. We never believe in ourselves when things are going great. Of course not. Hope comes more often than not from reaching those moments where we have none and having to dig deeper and get more than what we had before to get us somewhere different. Okay, so an example, I've just changed the lamp out of my salt lamp, the bulb out of my salt lamp, and I could really feel into that energy of, oh God, I'm almost burnt out. It doesn't mean we can't pause, restock and change the light that guides us by seeing simply everything that is occurring as part of the process, as part of the bigger plan, as part of the bigger picture. And that's where the strength card and the star card come into play. That's where you get that real energy of courage and patience and gentility. Being at one with the chaos, you know, working with the chaos rather than against the chaos. And it reminds me of films like The Matrix, you know, when things slow right down. And I think it's Mission Impossible, where he's pulling all the elements up onto the screen so that you can see them. And that's what this week is about, an opportunity to see all the elements at play that are going on. Now, the reason it finally makes sense to me talking about creativity, and I really feel that in my root chakra, once we open up, this week is going to be very quick. It may not seem as if it's quick physically, which is why routine and structure is key. This morning I didn't know what I was going to talk about, but I did know I was going to look into the energies for the week. Step one, I did know I was going to do speak of whatever came through, but also to use the tarot cards. Step two, and I also knew that I was going to record it and share it as I always do. Step three, so having a 3-step program, almost because 3 is the number of creativity. Yes, having a beginning, middle, end of the cycle that you are experiencing, however many times they want to come up. So if something comes up and you think, okay, so I've been here before. Right, so this is the beginning of it. What do I need to gain out of it? How can I close this down? Really allowing the energetic cogs to turn. I see the energy centers, I see the chakra system, but I see it multifaceted. Obviously, I know we're very aware of the 7, the 9, the 11 chakra energy centers in our body, but they're everywhere. They're in our hands, they're everywhere. All these little portals, if you will, of energy, of potential within us, and just allowing them to keep moving, to keep flowing however they need to keep flowing, because it feels like there's a mighty realignment with our energy systems, with our soul and with our potential that's going to start this week. Now obviously, yes, we will get insights to where that's going to go, and that's where the up and down almost comes. And what I hear is hormone regulation, a little bit of an ache in my jaw. It does feel as if it's the same story over and over and over, but there's a need for hormonal regulation there. There's a need to really feel into what we feel and allow our body to adapt and adjust as needed, so that we can get that trust back in ourselves to create. I think it was Ina May Gaskin that said the human race is the only animal that doesn't believe in their ability to give birth. You know, our bodies are designed to manifest. Our bodies are designed to create, whether that's children, whether that's artwork, singing, dancing, whatever. Our body is designed to work with energy. Okay, so yes, of course, some of us may have imbalances within our systems that make that less possible, but nevertheless, we are designed to work with energy. So really realigning, taking stock and bringing that balance back into our lives hormonally is going to be key. And I see the thyroid in particular this week, as there's a lot, as you can see, of communication trying to come through. So allowing time for that, allowing space for that within your routine, within your structure. It's not about taking time out to be spiritual. It's about bringing the spirituality into normal everyday life. Okay, so going for a walk can be a meditation. Cooking dinner can be a ceremony. Really bringing the higher vision of the star into our everyday life. It's that where the strength card really steps up another notch. because we begin to open to the divine within us, which is why I'm working with the Divine Tarot today, the legacy of the Divine Tarot. Yes, it is related to the feminine. Yes, it is related to the goddess and the earth and creativity and intuition and transition and change and chaos. However, it feels really important that there's a beautiful balance between the feminine and the masculine. And the masculine that I sense is very strong coming through, and being okay with being very strong that's coming through. You know, I shared a post today about an almost common misconception that women overall don't want strong men, that the sacred masculine doesn't mean strong. Well, I can only speak from my own experience and from those that I've shared with other women. A masculine is a strong figure, whether it's our own masculine energy or our partners, our lovers, our brothers, our sons, our fathers, whatever that may be. It's a strong, nurturing energy. And there really isn't the need anymore for women to be weak in order for men to be strong, or men to downplay their strength in order for women to feel empowered. And this week that's really going to come to light. There is a deep need in order for the goddess energy to move forward from the goddess into the divine, there is a deep need for her to be supported with the masculine this week. So a deep need for our structures and our foundations, and a deep need for anything that is intuitive to be really encouraged within our everyday actions. Why? Okay. It now all makes sense because on Thursday there's a full moon in Leo. Now, my star sign, I have a lot in Leo actually. I have Jupiter in Leo, as you can tell. My sun sign is in Leo, but also my Mercury. Obviously my communication is in Leo. So really feeling into that this week, how Leo is going to ask you to not necessarily be in the spotlight in the way that you perceive. There's this huge assumption, particularly I find with the Leo archetype, but that could be because it's my birth sign, of how a Leo is, how a Leo wants center of attention, how a Leo wants to be in the spotlight. A Leo, for me, very much wants us all to be in our own divine energy, for our own divine to come through, our own Salka, our own wild energy, our own connection to the feminine to come through, however it needs to come through. And that could be sat in a little quaint bookshop somewhere, that can be doing a ceremony in front of thousands of people, or loving our family. It really doesn't matter. What matters is with this Leo energy that's coming through, the sacredness of creativity is recognized in whatever we do, whatever we share. The more we can recognize that, the more we can hone into creativity for the ceremony of life that it is. Oh, I like that. The ceremony of life that it is. The more we will honour ourselves and our vessels, our physical vessels, as the conduit of this, the more we will begin to trust not only in our vision here, but our place in the grander vision. And it's that that's coming to light this week, but we're not quite there yet, which is where that discernment is needed so that we can really feel into, where am I acting from here? Am I reacting? Am I initiating a new story here, or another chapter at least to the story? Where am I creating from here? There is no judgment there, but the more aware we can be of what it is we are creating, the more we become directors of that, the more we believe in our ability to deliver, the more we acknowledge ourselves as sacred vessels, as sacred creators, as legacies of the divine. Yes, we can feel into what is our legacy going to be that we leave here, but what legacy wants to flow through us as part of the divine as well. There's going to be some hints this week, so I can look back in my life and know that from standing up for my friends in school to encouraging and supporting my family, to placing a chair under the door, so that women can get the delivery that they want. I've been very much about empowerment, and that's that energy, that legacy seems to be running through me and through my family. And this week we're really going to feel that. We're really going to feel not only the soul energy that runs through us, but the oversoul of our family and our tribes as well. So that may mean that we get reconnected with people that are on that energy, on that oversoul, and it also may feel that maybe that we really feel into some of the wisdom of our ancestors this week as well. Okay, I think that's a good time to look at the energy. Balance is key this week, so a beautiful opportunity to allow intuitive messages to come through, but also to have structure, to not get too caught up in either or, to not get too caught up in the masculine actions and to not get too caught up in the intuitive being and feeling, to combine them. Because it's that that's going to reignite the spark. It's uniting our sacred union. It's bringing our masculine actions in line with our intuitive emotions and yearnings and desires that's going to bring that light bulb moment to the energy. Yeah, so the King of Wands keeps making a particular appearance over the last few weeks, but today in particular. So really acknowledging that our actions are spirit-led. Spirit-led, spirit-driven, higher spirit, higher love, higher awareness, higher connection. And that's the discernment. The discernment really is the trust and the ability that actually we can go higher. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not good enough where we are, but in any given moment, you know, we can eat our food mindlessly, or we can really taste it, and what we've done is take that vibration higher. That doesn't mean it's a good or bad vibration, it just means we are more embodied. To be higher is to be embodied, and that is a real turning point with the whole particular spiritual view. It's not about leaving our body, it's not about leaving the situation or disconnecting, it's not about spirituality being out there, but really bringing it in, as the King of Wands would, into all that we do. Embodiment becoming the foundation of spirituality. We have the Nine of Cups at the bottom, because if we don't feel what we want, how do we know? And sometimes that comes from certain things. I feel like I'm going to drop it all. Sometimes that can come from certain things being almost repeated and really felt into. And that can be uncomfortable, but it's, again, all part of the process this week. Okay. Don't force the messages. I saw a coconut on that card, and I kept thinking this must have some relevance because it's really standing out to me. Sometimes things will stand out to you, and it doesn't mean that they have relevance in this moment. They may have had relevance in the past, they may have relevance in the future, but we're being given an opportunity to almost take notes, subconscious notes this week of what is going on around us, to pay attention. Pay attention. Journaling is going to be a really great tool this week, to, even if it's bullet point things that have stood out to you, to recognise the many ways that communication can come through, your communication can come through. Because why? That helps to build our trust. What does confirmation do if it doesn't help us believe in ourselves? Ensure that that's what is actually happening, because the other side of confirmation is the conforming of a nation. Yeah, we can have certain, you know, when you have the algorithms on your phone and you Google something in particular and then it comes up on your phone and it's like, oh, it must be a sign. Sometimes it's pure algorithm. So really discerning the deep intuitive messages and the messages of convenience. Yeah. Not being lazy this week, really seeing through things for the underlying insight, the inner sight that is there. Because it's the inner sight that builds trust. It's not, oh, I saw that, oh, I did that, oh, well, I saw this happening. Okay, and what? Yeah, what did that bring up for you? The fact that you're sharing that you saw something happen. Okay, so what does that do? It gives you faith in believing in yourself. That's the underlying message. Even readings, insights, synchronicities are multifaceted, and if we're going to continue to see them on a surface level, that's all they will be. If we go deeper, they become communication with the universe and with ourselves as a result. Oh, and that, you couldn't write this stuff. The Strength card at the bottom of the pack. Okay, so it's that the divine, the strength, the whole energy of this year wants us to see. Go further, go deeper, into the chaos, into the feminine, into the unknown, into the mysteries. I've seen this year being called the year of the mystic, and absolutely, but even that, deeper, go further in. There is more to that than meets the eye. Calling it the mystic is still giving it a limited energy. It's everything, right? It's the divinity of you, and it's limitless. And this week, underneath it all, that potential is there, but being aware of that is what's going to really shift the vibration. So when I first started this reading, I thought, oh, there's a little bit of conflicting energy here. Oh, there's a little bit of old energy, new energy. Oh, I'm not quite sure how to navigate this, but opening up and going deeper, being curious, having the courage and the curiosity. I hear curiosity killed the cat, and so what? You know, we're all, none of us are getting out of here alive, having the curiosity of life, of creativity. A lot of the things, particularly when it comes to creativity, that we don't do because we're frightened it will be judged or not go anywhere or not be what we wanted it to be. Wow. What about all the things that we don't do? Do they just disappear, or do they stay there waiting stagnant? Having the courage to open up and allow them to speak this week so that we know, what are we taking forward? What are we letting go of with gratitude for everything that they've taught us? Okay, so let's look at the energy this week, because that's where I feel I'm going to stop shuffling the cards. That's where I feel the other side of indecisions when it comes to messages and coincidences. So going deeper, this is where my throat is actually opening out, going deeper into the communication that is occurring, really feeling into that hormonal change that is occurring. And it's like a global, universal hormonal change as well. Emotions are changing. Our ability to feel emotions are changing, and as that happens, obviously emotions themselves have more of an awareness. The wild, the bit we've tried to hold down, starts to really come to the forefront in the collective consciousness, and that's where we can get a little bit jippy with our thyroid, with our hormones. So allowing that communication to come through. I was going to say pause, but that's a view on my part, or slow down, Kirsty, but actually no, it's not anything that we can't cope with. So allowing that communication to be clear. All the time it's flowing, doesn't matter if it's slow, fast, whatever. There's a common misconception that spirituality in particular has to be spoken a certain way, perceived a certain way, portrayed a certain way, but it can come through clearly, and it can come through beautifully as well. You know, allowing that connection between the throat and the higher heart and the heart this week, and that's where I see it then going down to the womb space and into the root chakra. Okay, so I'm going to go back to what the original message was, which again feels key. Keep coming back to the original message. Keep coming back to the original message. This week, when there are insights, coincidences, synchronicities, yes, being very discerning, and what? Go deeper, go deeper. It's like that, come here, there's more, and having fun with that, playing with that, curiosity with that. But on the other side as well, not getting lost down rabbit holes, be very mindful of that. So I almost see like having a tether, having a connection to get you back out again if you go back down. Now that can be a person, that can be reaching out to someone, that can be journaling, having something that brings you back into your body. It's one thing to find out the wisdom of insights and messages and visions, the star card, yes, but it's another thing to come back and start applying them to life. So having that routine and having that structure is going to be key, so that we don't get lost on that. So on that note, I'm going to stop shuffling the cards, and we're going to look at the energy on a daily basis. Yeah, at the bottom of the cards, we do have the Four of Swords. There is a temptation here to become lost in the abyss of chaos. Now that could either come from I just really don't know what to do, or it can come from that's actually what it feels like it comes from. I don't know what to do here. And there's a big difference between rest and flowing and being in the center of the storm and being lifeless. There's a big difference between stillness and lifelessness. Okay, and this week that's really going to come to light. We can be still and still be brimming with life. Okay, so there's more to that, but that won't come until, I think it's March, April time, but there's some confusion there. Okay, Wednesday, gosh, Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Overall, wow, the very beginning of the week, and overall we have cups, which, yeah, I think I saw something. I haven't written the full moon blog yet because it feels important to do what we can in each moment, and there's more to come. However, there does need to be a line drawn through that, and creating, not allowing that to feed procrastination. You know, I'm also aware I haven't written the blog because I want to know what to write about, and I'm not trusting my ability to tune into it and just write what I feel, and that comes from a place of not being good enough, so, or believing I'm not good enough in regards to astrology. So this week, really feeling in again where we are creating from, what energy we are creating from, but also how we see our ability to create, because overall we do have the Page of Cups, and I am fully aware that the full moon in Leo is doing something with Neptune. I know it's doing something, and I know Jupiter's involved, so there's some real big expansions here, but there's also connections into our own spirituality, and being mindful about how that can just be a wonderful place, especially when the world is a bit to just stay there and not want to come back out again. Okay, so Again, no judgment there, although that is the only major arcana that we have this week. No judgment there in regards to what you do with that. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, let it call you out. Let it call you out, because there is the potential here to become lost in our own illusion. Okay, so yeah, like, give an example. The flat that I'm looking at today, it isn't the house that I want. It isn't. But I can get so lost in the dream that I don't put in the steps that's going to get me there. So I'm also acutely aware that this flat that we're looking at is less money, which is going to give me a chance to save money and perhaps rent a field, or, you know, really start to open up the expansion of the dream. So there's a bit of prioritizing here and micromanaging what is going on. And that's where I see that image of Mission Impossible, bringing in things, getting rid of those things, prioritizing. Okay. Overall, we have the Page of Cups this week. So it's great to have innocence and youth when it comes to creativity. It's great to have that awe and that wonder. However, if we're going to continue to see that outside of ourselves, that almost lacks or denotes a lack of emotional immaturity. Okay, so being very mindful of that, having fun with everything that we are creating this week, but also knowing that we are creating it. Okay. It's about drinking from our own cup of experience, right? Our own cup of love, our own heart space. And we're only going to be able to open our heart if we really connect to what we desire. And we're only going to be able to connect to what we desire if we really start to become not in control, a leader of what it is we are going to deliver from this heart space. Allowing our heart to lead the way this week is going to be key, so that we can regain trust in that area. On the Monday, we have the Seven of Cups, and I can really feel that. I can feel that in the going to look at the flat, even though on the one hand, I know it's a step in the right direction. On the other hand, it isn't particularly what I want, but I'm just going to have to endure that. So the Seven of Cups, obviously the seven is endurance, but also spiritual growth, okay? So recognizing if it isn't meant to be, it won't happen as well. Today I was going to look at two flats, and one of them was quite far away and totally disrupted my day, and it felt very difficult. The flow wasn't there. It felt really, really difficult to get this in place. So I handed it over. When there's that confusion, particularly on the Monday, that uncertainty, that illusion, we can really get caught up in what I want and what I'm going for, and oh my god, the options that I've got, I don't feel like I've got the options, and there's choices, but is there choices really? I haven't really got a choice. Add to that old behaviors and old patterns coming up as well, and future visions coming in as well. It's like not a fight for the table, but almost like a fight for attention. Okay, so when it gets like that today, hand it over. This morning I just said, if I'm not supposed to see them, can they cancel? Well, the first one wouldn't take animals, so that was cancelled. Really recognising your priorities, really recognising what you're happy to negotiate on and what you're not happy to negotiate on. So I'm happy to negotiate moving into this flat if they will take us, provided they take the animals, and provided it's a step towards the dream. Ensuring that it's actually a step towards where you want to go. And that can be quite confusing, but on the Tuesday we're going to get insights into that with the Two of Cups. On the Tuesday it's about really connecting to our emotions, to our wisdom, to the reflective communication as a result on the Tuesday. And there's great opportunity to celebrate the commitment. Celebrate the commitment. You know, on the one hand, I'm living in the country and loving it, but it isn't everything that it needs to be, and the house is falling apart, and we can't afford it. On the other hand, I'm going to have to move into the city, into a smaller place, and but the commitment to give up a weakened version of what my heart desires in order to do what is necessary to get what I truly desire. On the Tuesday, that's going to be key. The commitment we are willing to put into our heart's desires and what is asked of us from the universe and what we are asking for in return. Real flow of energy available on the Tuesday. On the Wednesday, we have the Ace of Cups. So yes, 4 cup cards at the very beginning of the reading. So the first half of the week is emotional and it's heart expansive, because obviously on the Thursday, we're coming into that full moon in Leo. Yes, this is all about the heart space, guys. Leo is all about the love, and it's all about seeing love as the divine source. Love for ourselves, love for each other, love for what it is we're trying to create, love for the creative process itself. I see all the time, oh gosh, I can't believe I'm here again. Or, oh, I've been trying to manifest this and it isn't what I want. And how long is it going to take? And da-da-da. Where's the love? Where's the love for each stage of the process? And that's not to downplay how frustrating it can be. I've been with people in labour for days on end, people that are crossing over for weeks, months on end. My own creative process, years, sometimes decades. It's not to say that it's easy. And it's not to say that it's not frustrating, but if we can step into this more heart expansive flow and enjoy the ride, allow it to open us up, call us out of where we may be stopping ourselves from being part of this flow, where we may be holding the flow as separate to us rather than seeing that we are it. Then come the Thursday with the full moon in Leo, yeah, that's where we get the judgment. The judgment of it all is going to say, okay, so time to come out now. Time to come out to play now. You know, we're coming into in bulk. There's bulbs coming up from the ground. There's a little, almost like a leaning out of the cave, wanting to go back in, but it's coming. That time is coming to be called out. And everything that we're experiencing that we may not like is an opportunity to go, yeah. Yeah, okay, so I can see that I need to go for this flat because I can't afford the dream, and right now I haven't manifested it, but I'm closer because I'm committing to it. I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm calling myself out. I'm calling bullshit on what is going on and some of the beliefs that are actually standing in the way of that. Come the Thursday, yeah, if we can not project that onto others but embody it ourselves, that judgment card there really calls us out. And you can see that the characters here almost look like they're being born from the water. Emotions are key this week. From the water we come, back to the water we go. Emotions, emotions, emotions. Yes, it's a week of feels. It's a real week of feels. Come the Friday, things start to not calm down, but take a more solid initiation. It's not an approach. I feel that in my sacral and in my solar plexus. It's not an approach, it's an initiation. So it's the Ace of Coins. And I want to say it's only the Ace of Coins, but recognizing those physical changes, those small physical changes are what's going to really develop the foundation, the steadfastness, the commitment, the routine. Okay. And when I felt it into my sacral, I thought it was my sacral, it's my solar plexus. Being aware of divine will and our own will, and the impact that that has on our ability to trust in what we create and ourselves as a result. Small steps, annoying as they can be, you know, oh God, have I really got to do this, are a beautiful way of seeing how we can chop wood, carry water, apply what we know to life, and believe in ourselves. We want, I don't know, an exercise regime, and we decide we're going to start running the London Marathon, and we've done no training, no small steps, and then we get into that race, we're not prepared, and yeah, we don't get very far. What does that do to our belief, to our ego even? What does that actually do to our faith in the ability to deliver what it is we're trying to achieve? Jack shit. However, if we decide we're going to run a marathon, which I'm not, by the way, we're going to run a marathon, and we go, okay, so that involves that I need to get up at 6 in the morning. Okay, I'll start that. And then next week when I get up at 6, I'm going to do some stretches. And then the following week, I'm going to do a bit of walking and then a bit of running, and really building it up. But what one small step this week is being called out of you in order to go from being undecided, projecting, unable to open your heart, judging others, to flipping the narrative and going, so I've held this potential in me all along. It's been within me all along, and I've been sharing it, I've been giving it to others, I've been but I've not been drinking of it myself. So what one small step this week can help you really turn the narrative so that you say, okay, I'm undecided, and that's why things haven't happened yet. So I need to go through this to really figure out what I want. Okay, this is a way of working with my emotions, not against them, and, you know, really communicating with the universe and my higher self as a result. And yeah, this is a beautiful way of connecting back to my heart and opening up and feeling that flow and retrusting this space within me. Okay. On the Friday, sorry, that one step, what one thing can help you do that. It feels like making a decision, a physical decision, is going to be key. On the Saturday, we have the Queen of Wands, and yeah, of course, this is the only reason I picked the deck, the book. The box here, okay, has the Queen of Wands right in the front and the words legacy of the divine. I knew it was about the divine feminine, but I knew it was about the masculine feminine, you know, the feminine masculine, however you want to look at it, the yin and the yang together, the sexual fusion that is necessary before we have creativity, the passion, the ambition, the drive. We can talk about these one steps building our belief in ourselves, but what they do is they reignite that spark. They get results, and when we get results, that's when we want to keep going. That's when that commitment really occurs. So making a decision is really quite fundamental this week, because it's a choice. It's a choice to say, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to take responsibility for that, for my path. I'm going to lead my own way. I'm going to connect to that strong masculine feminine within me. I'm going to unite sacredly my actions with my intuition. And yes, years down the line, months down the line, I may look back and go, oh, actually, but that's hindsight. Hindsight's a powerful tool, right? Remembering hindsight, foresight, and inner sight. It is the triple goddess. So feeling into what we are intuitively seeing, okay, knowing what it is we want in the foresight, but also having hindsight of the times we've acted or perhaps not acted, and really learning from that, knowing whatever decisions we make are going to be part of the experience, part of the process. You know, there is no wasted creation. It's all part of the divine legacy, because then we have faith in ourselves, but then we also start to really connect to the feminine that has evolved, and she has evolved within us. On the Sunday, there's more to that. What is that about? It is about us finding out how that feminine has evolved. I can really feel into how my energy has changed. I don't always act it. I don't always act how my energy has changed, and that for me was definitely where the conflict was this morning when I started the video. Like, oh, I'm not quite sure. Of course I am. I press record and it's there. It's that belief that comes from doing something. That's really key this week. It's going to form the solid foundation that we have on the Sunday in the Four of Wands. Yes, there is change afoot. Yes, there is change in our house. There is change in the earth beneath us, right? There's so many earthquakes going on right now. It's like Pachamama's belly is birthing the dragons. Okay, but within us too, there you will see it. There's a lot of energy about the mystic year. There's a lot out there about obviously it becoming, we're getting ready for it being the dragon year. There's a lot out there of heaven on earth. Yeah, there's a lot going on out there. But remember, bringing it back to ourselves for the foundation that we are. So how does that affect me? Okay, so if the mystic is being awakened within me, okay, maybe I need to pay a bit more attention to what I'm seeing. Maybe I need to, you know, see deeper, open my eyes, open the eyes that are in my heart, my whole body. We do a ritual of cleaning the 11 eyes with the sun, and cleaning the 11 eyes is our energy centers. We clean them with light, knowing that every single energy center, every cell in our body picks up information constantly, continuously, this communication. So really being the firm foundation and sacred space that can be heard within us. Yes, the dragon year. Yes, the dragon energy is rising within us. Also, the water dragons, our emotions, the fire dragons, our spirit. You know, the earth dragons, our physical bodies are changing. Our physical bodies need stretching. They need room to grow. You know, our air dragons, our thought process. The creation that is occurring within us is being reflected around us. So what are we going to do about it? What are we being asked to do so that we can provide sacred space for change itself? Chaos always denotes being outside of us, outside of control. There's nothing that we can actually do here. And this is where my eyes are being drawn back to the Four of Swords. Yeah, well, there's nothing I can do. I just need to surrender to the chaos. And here we have the crow, which is linked to the moon and also linked to the womb space, the sacral energy. We have, I think that's a red and white flower as well. Red and white flower, the masculine and the feminine. Now, it's the masculine that's actually asleep in this picture. You can just about see that. And it's almost like that's being called out within us now. The masculine within us, our actions, our light, our spirit is almost being called up to say, actually, yeah, there is things that you can do. There is things that are now needed of us in a more grounded, peaceful, warrior-like fashion. So what do we have? We have 4 cup cards, 1 wand card, 2 wand cards. Okay, so 4 cup cards. The stability, believe it or not, is going to come from the emotions this week. It may not feel like it, but as the hormones fluctuate, it is about being, I really feel like I want to almost do like a belly dance. It is about being at flow with everything that we experience, knowing we are the navigator of our own ships, our own relationships in particular this week. I'm remembering a thing that I'm reading about shamanic Kabbalistic tree of life, and in it the chapter is about psychonauts, which I'd never heard of. I'd never heard of the word psychonauts, but yeah, the navigator of the soul. And very much this week recognizing we are the navigator of our own consciousness. The more we explore, the more awareness is going to come to light, the more we get into the nooks and crannies of our own shadows, our own energy, our own awareness, the more I always see, like, I think it's the 6 of Swords card in a different deck, but where she's holding a light up in a boat. And yeah, the more we are able to envision. Okay, so this week, yes, we're being asked to really navigate our own consciousness, and that stability, 4 of Cups, 4 cup card, sorry, comes from our emotions. Having fun with that, particularly the indecisions. We can choose to see it as endurance, or we can choose to see it as an adventure. Okay, so that's entirely up to us. Uniting with our heart. This is an opportunity to unite our heart, our higher heart, and even our soul heart all as one here, and going with the flow, our own flow, recognizing that that is the feminine within us. That is the sacred union. So we have 1 pentacle card, but before then I want to go to the sword cards. Again, interesting. So we have 1 sword card, which is the 4 of Swords, and I want to keep coming back to the masculine before I do any physical changes. Of course, there is no point picking a physical starting point. This is the Ace of Pentacles. It's a beginning. There's no point picking a physical starting point that is miles ahead of where you are, because it's called a starting point. Okay, it's to start. So when we pick something that is way out of what we are capable of, and we don't come back to the now and build towards it, what does that do to our masculine, our actions? We end up doubting them. Yeah, we end up doubting them and saying, well, it's all chaos, there's nothing I can do about it, there's no control here at all. Actually, chop wood, carry water. What can we do in this moment? So if we're going to awaken the inner masculine within us and reignite that light and that spark, yeah, it's one thing to intuitively see the bigger picture, but how are we going to apply that? What 1 small step can we make this week that's really going to help our mindset to chill, to have peace with what is occurring, but also knowing that when the time comes, we will act. Okay, so 1 step this week that needs to be put into place. We have 2 wand cards, but first I'm being very drawn to the Judgment card. If you don't know what that 1 step is, just put it out there. Just put it out there. If you're really uncertain like me this morning, okay, if I'm not supposed to go for this place, can you get it to be cancelled? Put it out there. Yeah, so allowing Judgment to call us out, but also giving it up to Judgment, seeing Judgment as a opportunity to recognise our higher values. That place this morning wasn't taking animals. That's a judgment on me and my fur family, but also a judgment of mine that I am not moving without my animals. That's a value of mine. So recognizing judgment for values also, and handing it over to the higher self this week if we're really, really unsure. So that we're not victims of fate, so that we're not saying I had no choice on this. We can say, actually, yeah, last week I asked, I set a manifestation to find a place that I could afford, and I didn't realise what I could afford. So I was soon made acutely aware of that first. And being aware of that, when we hand it over, we're going to get the answers that we need. They may not always be the ones that we want, but they're going to call us out to show us the steps we need to put into place in this moment. 2 wand cards, a beautiful, beautiful balance here of the feminine and how secure and sacred she truly is, the safe environment for her to be seen, okay? Within us as well. So if we see feminine as creativity and we don't trust creativity, that's not a safe space for the feminine. So this week, again, keep going back to the same message. Being shown where we trust ourselves, being shown where we believe in ourselves as the vessel of the feminine is going to be key. Working on that, any steps that you make, do they help support the belief I have in myself? Okay. I feel the throat really opening. I'm not surprised. Oh, 44, 44. I'm not surprised because the communication has been quite full on. But I really feel the throat opening, and it feels quite vital to allow space for the communication to be full on, to find someone that you can speak your truth with so that you can hear it. If anything else, so that you can hear it. Okay, 1 card. Oh, and that makes us wobble when we actually hear our own truth, when we hear our own energy, our own potential, our own power. That can really make us think, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know if I can hold on to all of this. No one's asking us to hold on to it. It's to flow through us, continuously moving, continuously changing. Okay, so yes, we have the 3 of Wands, 3 of Wands and the Death card. So there is a great moving on here, a great moving forward here. Right in the very bones of it. And I know that we just had Pluto go into Aquarius, and you can see the Pluto sign here. There's a big collective shift asking to be born through us all. And underneath it all, well, you couldn't write this. Obviously you have the, I say obviously, you have the wheel and all that sort of stuff, you know, the usual. But right underneath it you have the Hierophant, the Faith card. Now I do see establishments here. I do see certain crumbles of, well, let's face it, this year is going to be a breakdown of a lot of hierarchies that haven't worked, that no longer work. You know, the 1%, you know, that's Pluto going into Aquarius. All these things are going to start to fall down. Yeah, we kind of knew that. Did we not believe that the world would say this isn't working and that things would change? How does that apply to you? How can you bring that faith back to yourself? It starts from within. Have the most incredible, incredible week. And I shall see you next week. Take care.